Hey folks, this is Miriam with Hot Hardware. Welcome to New York City. We're at the Moto Razr event. Let's check out what's going on here today. This is a big deal. They're launching 3 new Razrs this year. We get a Razr Ultra now, which is a full-blown Snapdragon 8 Elite product. We're getting a Moto Razr Plus, very similar to last year, just slightly upgraded, and a Moto Razr standard stuff, again, very much similar to last year, slightly upgraded. In addition, we're getting a watch. Nothing too crazy, but it does have 16 days of battery life. And we're getting some open earbuds, the kind that let sound through, they're not noise canceling or anything like that. And they have Swarovski crystals on them. That's the big deal here. So they're very excited about that. But I'm mostly interested in the Razr Ultra. So let's check that out, shall we? This is the Razr Ultra. This is the new Razr, the one that has all the things, including a new AI button right here on the left-hand side. As you can see, this is a very nicely polished aluminum frame, and the rest of the controls are pretty much what you'd expect. And this is a wooden finish on this particular model, and then the same large 4-inch display in the front that we got to see in previous years. So that hasn't changed too much, but lots has changed under the hood. In addition to this AI key, we've got a titanium reinforced hinged, we've got Gorilla Glass ceramic in the front, and this new 7-inch display has 7 inches. This display is a plastic OLED 1224 pixels wide, so basically halfway between 1080p and Quad HD. And it's got 165 Hertz refresh rate and 4500 nits of brightness, so it can get really nice and bright. And yeah, other than that, it's what you're familiar with. The cameras here are 50 megapixels all around. You got a 50 megapixel front-facing camera here. And in the back, now at least we don't have that silly 2x zoom plus main camera that we had last year. Instead, we have a ultra wide that's back, and these are much higher quality cameras than before. There's a 50 megapixel main and a 50 megapixel ultra wide, as I mentioned. The main can do 2x lossless telephoto zoom, basically, just like a flagship. So this is a big improvement in terms of camera specs. These are bigger sensors, better low light performance, the usual pixel binning down to 12 megapixels, of course. But the big news, other than this AI button, is that there is a Snapdragon 8 Elite under the hood. Yes, the full enchilada. You're getting a full flagship experience here. 16 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of storage, or 1 terabyte of storage. So they didn't skimp here on anything, which is really good news. A lot of this storage is for a whole bunch of new AI features that Moto is rolling out that coincide with this button. For example, you can now, when you have this intent mode like this, you can just start talking to it and Moto AI have a conversation with Moto AI, which is interesting. So there's a bunch of new features like that. Yeah, this is a big step forward for Moto. They've really cranked things up a notch. Another big deal here is a bigger battery. We've got 4,700 milliamp hour. We've got 68 watt wire charging, 30 watt wireless charging, and 5 watt reverse wireless. So yeah, that's pretty great. Let me walk you through the edges a little bit here. So if you open it up, right, like if you close it like this, you can see everything. If you open it up, on the right-hand side here, you've got a volume rocker, power lock key with an embedded fingerprint sensor, a bunch of antenna bands. Bottom here, you have the SIM tray, microphone, USB Type-C, and one of the 2 speakers, another mic. On the left-hand side here, you've got nothing but antenna bands and that AI button, a 3rd microphone, a 4th microphone on top here. The earpiece acts as a 2nd speaker, of course, for stereo audio. And so that basically is the tour of this phone, right? In front, this display is the same as last year, 4 inches, 165 Hertz, 3000 nits, and the same resolution. So that hasn't really changed. But yeah, basically the main improvements here have been on the camera system, on the internal display, which is a little bigger and brighter, the Snapdragon 8 Elite chipset, of course, and some aesthetic tweaks like this wood finish. There's also an Alcantara finish, and the vegan leather is still there, of course. But, you know, of course, improvements to durability. This is IP48 water and dust resistance, and this titanium reinforced hinge, the ceramic Gorilla Glass, Yeah, so basically, you know, this is the star of the show at Moto's events here in New York today. There is also the Moto Razr Plus and the Moto Razr Regular. Those are slight evolutions of last year's model. They have the same specs as last year. A newer chip on the regular Razr, I believe it's a MediaTek Dimensity 7400X. But yeah, overall, these are still the same good folding phones from Moto with a great software experience, some AI features thrown in for good measure, of course. Lots of partnerships with lots of AI companies, including the same partnership with Pantone for the colors. So here you have it, folks. A quick look at the Moto Razr Ultra, the latest from Moto. I focus on this primarily because it's the big deal here. Of course, there's also the Razr Plus and Razr, and there is the watch and earbuds. So check all of this out on hothardware.com. I've written it all up for you guys. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, click the bell, you know the drill, and stay tuned for more videos.